everyone, thanks for watching. In today's video, I will be showing y'all how to make this DIY wood slice wall art. I have made one of these in the past and it's still hanging up in our home, and it's probably one of the most asked about pieces in our house. So whenever people come over, they always compliment on it and I tell them that I made it and they are totally impressed. So I figured I would show you guys how to make it because it's actually one of the easiest things to make and it's beautiful hanging up on the wall. I did get this idea. It's not something that I came up with, but I was researching some ideas of things to hang up in our house when we had first moved in, and I saw lots of pieces made out of the wood slices and I just thought it was beautiful and really homely and I just loved the look of it, but they were super expensive, so I figured I would try to make it on my own, which ended up working out perfectly because it was under $10 for me to make it, and I was able to use a tree from outside our home, and I just love that aspect about the piece. It is from a tree from our first home together, and I was also able to make the shape of it to fit the wall perfectly where I wanted it. So all of that ended up being a win-win, so I did want to share it with you guys. So as I mentioned, it is from a tree that we already have outside of our home. We do get it trimmed sometimes, so I just used a branch from a trimming and I just cut it into smaller pieces. But if you don't have a tree of your own, you can always go to a park, you can go hiking, and there's always pieces of branches lying on the floor. Also, I know a lot of people put it on Facebook Marketplace as well as Craigslist when they have trimmings from their trees. If they have really nice branches or really nice trees, then they will put it out for free, but leave the address in case someone was interested in picking it up. As usual, we will first start with everything that you need to make it. First up, you will need a piece of scrap wood. So these are really inexpensive from the hardware store, but I just had a piece already lying around at home. That's why it is cut in this really awkward, weird shape. Also, you will need some type of wood glue of your choice. This is just what I already had at home, so that's what I'll be using today. And lastly, you will need your wood slices. And in case you were interested on my branches, it came from a crepe myrtle tree is I believe how you pronounce it. I also cut some smaller pieces for this time around just so that I have some fillers, so when I go to put it all together, there won't be any missing spots. I will have the little ones to fill in all of the spaces. So we're just gonna go ahead and begin. So the first thing we're gonna do is cut our branches. So I did kind of roughly use my fingers to kind of get them around the same size. It's okay if they're a little bit off because it will give it some depth once we put it all together. Once I cut all of the pieces, I went ahead and laid them out on some pans with aluminum foil, and you want to go ahead and bake it. Because we had just gotten the tree trimmed, it was still wet, the branches and the slices, so it is good to go ahead and bake everything out. Make sure there's no bugs or diseases or anything like that in your wood. So once you're finished baking it, we're gonna roughly map out how we want it on the wood just to get an idea of how we need to cut the wood for the backing. Also, if you want, you can mark where you're placing each one. That's what I did with my first piece. I marked the numbers on the bottom and then marked where the number was on the piece of wood. That way I knew to glue the numbers down onto that spot. I'm just going to place them just to get an idea of how big the wood needs to be cut. And then once it's already cut, I'm going to actually map out exactly how I want it. This is, like I said, just a rough draft. And it's okay to cut it a little smaller opposed to bigger because you don't want any of the wood peeking out on the sides. You do want the slices to overlap to where you can't see the back piece of wood at all. So definitely go smaller if anything, and then once you have that all cut out, you can go ahead and begin gluing your wood slices onto the wood. You can use some type of hook if you would like, which I will leave some options down below in the description. But what I personally did for mine, which has worked perfectly, is just bolt it directly into the wall in between two pieces of the wood slices. And this just held it up really nicely because it's a pretty heavy piece. I did want the screw to go all the way through the piece into the wall. Definitely get creative and have fun with it. It doesn't only have to be used as a wall art. You can also use it as a centerpiece on your table. You can even use it as a trim trivet, I believe is how you pronounce it, where you put your hot food right on top of it and it doesn't burn the table. You can also stain your wood if you would like, so there's definitely lots of different options for this. So that is all for my DIY wood slice wall art. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye guys.